Hello and good evening for this Thursday, March 16th, 2023. We just finished watching episode 5 of season 3 of Star Trek Picard, titled Imposters. But we're just getting started here tonight on Live Long and Podcast for our live stream review here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch, or you might be listening to us on the audio version. I'm Dave Mader. I'm joined here with Adam Woodward.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, nice to see you, Adam, and excited to talk about this episode with you. And we expect some others to come along. As well in the Live Long and Podcast community. Full spoiler warning in effect here. We will be spoiling the hell out of this episode and talking about it and breaking it all down tonight. So if you don't want to know, you haven't seen it yet, get out here. But we're expecting that you have. And with that said, I think that the headline has to be at this hour, Adam. Ro Laren back on Star Trek just to die.
First of all, what a treat. Didn't expect it at all. No idea it would be her. She played a great character tonight. I want to talk more about it. But again, episode 5, Dave, we're in episode 5, season 3, and it keeps getting better.
Yeah, well, I think that this is kind of what we wanted in the first couple seasons of this show, and we didn't quite get. It's been great getting like the next gen crew in here, and I think bringing in Michelle Forbes with Ro Laren, a character we have not seen since the 7th season of Next Generation, where she went off and she joined the Maquis in the episode Preemptive Strike, and that was a thread that was never resolved. They never came back to it. So here we are 30 years later, picking up this storyline, and these actors, Michelle Forbes and Jonathan Frakes and Patrick Stewart, it's just they ease right back into it. It's completely natural between them, not a moment has passed, and it works so well for me in this episode.
It really does, but we also learned more of a backstory between Picard and Laren that maybe wasn't as apparent back then as it certainly was tonight. I also want to call out Michelle Forbes for her great role playing Admiral Kane in Battlestar Galactica.
Yes,
in the 2000s, which was outstanding.
No, I really liked. I'm a big fan of Michelle Forbes. Battlestar Galactica. We were kind of talking before the show about the episode or the movie California with David Duchovny and her and Brad Pitt. And there's another woman. I can't remember who the other woman is in the movie.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus was in that.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus, yeah, that's right. It's a great. I'm a big fan of her. She was in True Blood as well. We were talking about earlier. Oh, Jody coming in from Ottawa. I believe he's in today. Yes, and if the Enterprise D was lit like the Titan A, there would be something there.
Actually, it was a little brighter tonight. I don't know if you guys noticed. It seemed brighter anyway. Maybe.
It was a little brighter when when Ro Laren's shuttle blew up with her in it. That was like, get the brightness out of here. Oh, communicator. And yeah, I think there's some other stuff we need to talk about. I have some nitpicks, of course.
Yeah.
Jody's taking himself out. Oh, I don't know what's going on. But I digress. What's going on with Jack Crusher here, Adam?
Okay, so
why is he Jason Bourne?
Why is he Jason? Very good, Dave. That he is Jason Bourne. So we opened up the episode tonight with him on the bridge, wearing a Starfleet uniform, carrying a phaser, and then basically blasting all the bridge crew. So
yeah,
including Crash LaForge.
Crash LaForge. Okay, yeah. I think the Jack Crusher of things and what's going on with him. And hey, Jody, you're
hello,
coming to us from Ottawa. Yeah, we get this opening scene here that's on the Titan A bridge, and it looks like it's kind of like the bridge crew. There's no Shaw there. There's no 7 of 9, but it's like these other officers we've been getting to know over the last few episodes. This Bajoran guy, this lady. Crash LaForge, yawning at the helm, and then we see somebody come into the bridge. We don't know who it is right away. We see somebody wearing a Starfleet Command Division uniform, and then this guy's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" Whoever this security ensign is, just for the guns to come out and the Jason Bourne assassinations to begin, where everybody in the bridge gets shot up pretty quickly, and it's revealed to be Jack Crusher. what's going on. He's kind of walking around the bridge. There's kind of like, why did he just kill everybody? What's happening?
You can tell this is in his head though because the lighting's better.
The lighting's better. Yeah, I'm like, there's too much going on here. Maybe that's
like,
what we
holy
were
shit. They have a bridge.
Yeah.
So right away, did you think he was a changeling before he got into the visions?
I think he is a changeling anyway.
There's something going on. There was something, and I was looking at like the post-credit like visuals they give us, and there's one that's like a shot of a brain that like shows stuff in the brain. So I don't think he's a changeling himself, but I feel
There's
like
he's also a DNA strand as well. At one point.
I feel like he's been like infused with changeling DNA or something's going on.
I think he's a hybrid.
Maybe, like something's changed. He's not purely human. It doesn't seem like, but we see like these visions that he has, these dreams. They're getting more intense. This officer who I can't remember the name of, but they're like, well, I know what you are. I know what you are. And we see like the vines and the red things are growing all over them, and then here we see Jack Crusher shoots them.
I think this is the whole Jekyll and Hyde thing, right? Like I think it's the changeling side of him is taking over slowly.
It's like he's like a sleeper agent or something, and it's like his programming is being. And he's hearing voices. He hears some of this more. This is getting more intense. We see here that this was just a dream. This didn't actually happen, but he's waking up in the room with an actual phaser in his hand. Not sure how he got there. He's almost like he's sleepwalking, I guess, and unsure what what's going to become of him. And we'll see he'll be activated into full Jason Bourne mode. We even see the red eyes and these glimmers here, and that he's. I don't know. This is potentially going to be my least favorite part of this season, depending on where this is leading. I don't know. Like
he's like a sleeper Cylon, like he's just being turned on.
That would be interesting.
I think the more intriguing thing is when they mentioned the fact that there was another weapon that was removed from Daystrom.
Yeah, they did mention that too.
Which I think is going to be lore.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. I think, guy, now that you said all that about his possibly a hybrid and whatnot, then what did Dr. Crusher have to do with that? How did,
I think she was playing around.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, she said, remember when you were a kid, Jack, and you had nightmares and you couldn't sleep? You got past it. He's like, I don't remember at all.
How do you get past it? Well, I did something. I toyed with like something I wasn't.
I was a changeling programming into you or something. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a secret Beverly Crusher's keeping here.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they're going to paint her as even a more terrible character soon.
We're going to see well, maybe she had a
They've
good
already
reason.
Pretty much ruined her anyway, so you might as well just go full tilt.
Just go full villain, Beverly Crusher. I don't know.
She's actually a villain. Yeah.
This episode titled Imposters, Part 5 of the show. We're past the halfway mark this season, guys, after this one. And we come here to the Titan A to start off after the credits here.
Did you guys talk about Ro yet?
We just mentioned she's here. Yeah, like we didn't.
I totally called that. I knew she was going to be on the show.
You knew she was going to be here? I didn't know she was going to be here. So
I had a feeling she was going to be.
They had leaked all these other things. We knew like Denise Crosby, for instance, but I didn't.
I think there's still more to come too. I think we're going to see some other fairly regulars show up.
Hey, bring them on if it's meaningful.
Well,
it just needs to be good. But this was really good here with Michelle Forbes as Ro Laren. Bringing her back was amazing.
I have a feeling we're going to see Quark too.
I wouldn't complain.
I hope so. Anyway,
Jody, we both thought she was fantastic in this episode. She played the role great.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I like the fact that they played her really evilly too at the beginning, and then she kind of turns around at the end.
Well, the whole title, "Who's the Imposter?" and you're thinking, okay, is it her? Yeah.
So you're thinking it's her, and obviously. But anyway,
that would have been disappointing if it was like Michelle Forbes is back just to find out this isn't the real Ro Laren or something. But that's not what it is. But okay, just before we get to her,
love Shaw. Still love Shaw.
He was even better tonight. Like, okay, now I like
the one-liners from him.
I am in with this guy now.
Yeah, well, he gets the command back here from
He's
Riker.
like, so should I put you back in command so you can be court-martialed? Do you want to do it in command or out of command?
Yeah, he gets back like the keys to the ship. Riker gives him back command officially under the command codes or whatever, and yeah, he does like I reinstate you, Seven of Nine, just so you can get.
I love how he does that too, right? He doesn't.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, they're just like,
Dick, I love
he's
him.
like, I hope you guys can enjoy facing the music, and I did love this part in particular.
He's like,
Get
pretty
your
cool
bullshit
looking.
story straight.
Yeah, why did you guys talk here? Get your bullshit story straight.
I'm gonna leave the room. You guys
I
get your
love
bullshit
that
story.
too, Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
God, I really want a show with him. Just give me a mini series, like an 8 or 10 episode mini series with him, and I'll be happy.
Yeah, he's not bad. And then we get the scene here afterwards where Picard's talking to Beverly and Jack about, okay, Starfleet's coming, because that's the other thing Shaw mentioned. He's like, he was just like, I know you're planning to call Starfleet. I already called them. You know?
Yeah.
They're on their way.
They're on their way right now. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's great.
He's just enjoying himself with them. He has this. So Beverly wants to examine the changeling corpse of Crash LaForge from last episode. Picard basically like, go for it. You know, we got to find out what the heck was going on here with
I believe Phaser LaForge is what we're now referring to her as.
Oh, okay.
What are we referring to her as?
Phasered LaForge.
Phasered, fake LaForge.
The Crash is the real one.
Yeah, well, and Beverly Crusher's like, this is not over. They're still coming after Jack, so they're just trying to keep Jack sort of out of the purview of. They don't know it's Ro Laren yet, but like basically keep away the investigation from Jack as long as possible because they don't know what
there was.
The conspiracy.
One thing about that scene that was kind of funny to me is that he goes, "Well, I'd kind of like to get to know you better now, you know." And Beverly, you're back in my life, and neither of them even acknowledged that. They just kept moving. No, this is not over.
Like, no time for this.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if we're coming to the vineyard anytime soon, but you know, we'll see. And then a couple more scenes here with Jack. I think Picard like says to Jack after Beverly kind of goes on her way, you know, maybe you would like to consider going into Starfleet one day or something like that. And Jack's like, I don't think that's for me, or you know, he kind of likes the way it is. He's not looking to follow his into his father's footsteps, but
yeah, it's going so well with all of his Starfleet stuff so far.
Yeah, exactly. And we see here Jack has like this vision. We see the officer he killed in his dream. I guess this is kind of he sees them walking back here. I don't think that's meant to be the real person. I think it's meant to be sort of another hallucination.
It's an hallucination. Yeah.
Yeah, and we see that he's still troubled by whatever is going on in his head. Okay, then we get to the scene here with Raffi and Worf, where they're sparring here in La Sirena. This was fun. To see them kind of do some.
All of the dialogue, the more that these two interact, unfortunately, the worse the dialogue Raffi has. I don't know if you guys noticed, but she said a lot of really cringy shit in this episode.
Well, I have something to say a little later on about her too.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all balanced out by Michael Dorn's charisma.
Michael Dorn carries it. He totally carries it through the whole.
I have no complaints with him. It's her that's the problem.
Like when he's present, I don't even care that I don't like her character. It doesn't matter, you know. And like so, and I don't mind them as a team. It's working pretty well for me. Plus, I love this sword Worf has. Oh my god, so it's like a huge mechlef. And it's even got like a handle at the top.
It's like a mechlef sword hybrid kind of thing going on.
Yeah. It's a great, it's awesome here. And and then like they're in the middle of the fight and he just like goes into meditation mode here or whatever. You know, he's very
like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What are you doing?
It's actually because he's so old, his knees are hurting.
Yeah.
He can move pretty
well.
Over
40 can relate to this.
He's
I'm in desperate need of medical attention.
And then we get the call here. It's the handler. So because they're like, okay, we need to keep our investigation going here, requesting access to Daystrom Station, which is denied. And I guess that we're led to believe by the end of this episode that this was Ro Laren.
Yes.
Worf's boss.
Worf's handler is Ro Laren. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess Worf knew that, but he didn't tell Raffi that. Is kind of what.
Yeah.
Was.
Exactly.
Well, I don't think it would mean anything to Raffi.
It was. Well, she wouldn't know who Ro is.
Right. So. She would never have met Ro anyway, so it wouldn't matter. But. Yeah, so there's like Rose Raffi here is like, well, we need to keep going after this, and we can't listen to it all. And Worf's like, no, we're gonna follow orders. We're gonna keep looking at things. And she's like, you don't know what I've sacrificed. He throws the dagger. You know, he's like, don't you presume to know what I have? And she's like, you keep throwing holes in my floor.
Can you stop putting holes in my ship every time you want to make a point?
Like, don't presume to know what I
Like that,
have and have not sacrificed. I feel like there's more to that line that we're gonna find out with Worf.
Yeah, I think there is. Yeah.
What has he sacrificed for this? And so they're gonna keep searching, like, well, because she points out that the Ferengi guy that he killed, that he also points out he killed to save her for disobeying orders in the first place. Like, he had some
Sneed.
associates. Sneed, yeah. And so we get this name Kryn. We also see Brunt on this list. Brunt, Liquidator Brunt, and Thadian Okona, the Outrageous Okona.
The Outrageous Okona.
Yeah, Davin's favorite character ever in all of Star Trek.
I like the character, but I don't think he's that exciting.
No,
I
Davin
like
hates the character, but
I like the character myself.
he recently showed up in Star Trek Prodigy.
Yeah?
He was like had a significant role in the first season. So he's going around. Morn's on the list too.
Yeah.
But anyway, Kryn, who we get like this file here. You know, we don't know the species unknown, planet unknown, everything unknown. Only thing we know is that he's a friend, or they're a friend of Sneed of Ferenginar, and wanted for grand larceny, escaping from prison. If you were in prison, wouldn't you know what species they are? Like, suspect to be hiding somewhere.
Depends on whose prison, I guess.
Yeah. So there's just this thing. So they head down to the District 6, like the slums of Matalas Prime, I suppose this is. And there's kind of like there's a little bit of this edit back and forth.
Well, and if you notice, it says his location is District 7, but they go to District 6.
They go to District 6. Yeah. He also says in his line, I grew up in District 7, but now they're in District 6.
Yeah.
And it says Vulcan Ministry of Justice was the authority that caught him. But again, why would the Vulcan Ministry of Justice not know he's another Vulcan?
Forgot to mute that. There it goes.
I feel like because they want to have this reveal. So we get like this coming down here to the district, and everyone's being quiet. Raffi goes, "What the hell's going on?" And he goes, "We are now the alphas. We killed the top gangsters. Oh, now we're the gangster." Like it's like
yeah. So much for that line.
Yeah,
I think it was a set. I mean, they know they're being listened to and watched right now.
Right. Like this is all set up. We find out this is set up. We see that I was like, is she wearing a mobile emitter? Turns out yes. It was
and I caught that when I first saw it, and I'm like, that looks a lot like that mobile emitter that
like
the
like, do you not think I would know what a mobile emitter looks like?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it, she's wearing it there. I'm like, that is clear as day, like on her, well, it's clear as anything is on the show. It's so dark. But right here on her arm, she's got the mobile emitter on. And yeah, like so Worf starts like, I don't know, doing his meditation thing, and they just kind of wait. We cut back to,
I love when that ship shows up.
The Intrepid.
It just shows like you know what's cool about this is that they're coming at a warp right in front of each other. Like,
well, I also like the camera shot on it, because at first what you see it come in, but then you see it. Well, it's hard for me to do it with a camera, but basically it's like it overshadows the other ship, and then it kind of pans, and then they end up being the same size, right?
Yeah,
so
they kind of go here.
They really wanted to show how they're kind of in charge, you know what I mean? So,
but this is also a very interesting ship design.
It sure is.
Yeah, I like that Intrepid version. Yeah,
with this saucer that extends here, but the secondary hull kind of like dips down, almost like I don't know, like an appendage that comes out. It's
no dumber than some of the other designs we've seen.
Oh no,
like
it's a neat design.
Nacelle designs drive me nuts.
Yeah, well, it makes no sense, as much as any fictional technology does. Anyway, so
but I do like each ship staring down each other.
Yeah, they're staring down each other. The Intrepid just feels a little bit more intimidating, for like it just looks a little bigger.
Well, it does. And the first communication, power down.
We're not. They're coming over in a shuttle.
I love Shaw's look at his face though. He's just like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Well, they're transporters. Like, what's going on? This is weird. And there's some weird here. Oh, and then Picard talks to 7-9. I need another favor from you. He's got to ask a 7 to hide Jack, basically in plain sight with a Starfleet uniform. That's what he asks of her. And so while they're heading down here in the turbolift to go meet the security officer coming over from the Intrepid, this is where he's like, "Oh, I'm just glad you're about to get your asses handed to you. This is good. This is like what I've been like looking forward to for the day you guys showed up here on my ship."
He's like, "I'll be glad when you two are gone."
Yeah. You know, he's like, "Do you mind?" He's like, "Not at all." But Riker points out that they've saved the galaxy a few times.
Oh, this is
And-
so
Yeah,
great.
and then he's like, "Yeah, you're the the Starfleet captain that landed a saucer on a planet." And
I thought, like, if you're gonna like talk about like their biggest failings, I feel like the three examples they used were not the best. He used were not the best. The one was like
there's
dropping.
better failings for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, the Enterprise D dropping the saucer on Viridian 3. Well, that was because there was a warp core breach, so they didn't really have a choice. The second one was about how he's like, let's just violate the Prime Directive so you can shag a Baku, referring to the events of Star Trek Insurrection and his girlfriend in that movie. But that wasn't really a Prime Directive. It didn't really apply. That was the whole point.
Well, but you
and then
also have to understand it from Shaw's point of view, right? He wasn't there. He doesn't know what actually did transpire. So he just goes based on word of mouth, right? So he's basically just like, oh, yeah, you're that fantastic captain that killed the Enterprise D and all that, right? Like he
Right.
doesn't
And then
know
the
that.
last thing they reference is the basically like the temporal anomaly and the Devron system, the events of all good things. I was like, how would he even know about that? Because like that all gets like kind of reset by the end of the episode of that two-parter.
Well, you still have the temporal anomaly. It's just the other timelines don't exist anymore. So there's still the one.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like if I was going to talk about what the biggest screw ups with Riker and Picard, I think you would have to bring up like the Pegasus incident.
Absolutely.
In Riker's case, I think that time that Riker, he slept with that guy's wife and then was accused of murdering him and like all this stuff. And like, I feel like there's all kinds of incidents.
Oh, the spaceship, the station one where she.
Yeah, the station one where like he got kind of framed or whatever.
He doesn't actually sleep with her though.
He was messing around a little bit with her.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
like there's been incident. They both have had their times where I was like, I think you could pick better examples, but I think that this is another reference to the Enterprise D, and I don't think it's a like anomaly.
Yeah, the D is probably the weakest excuse out of all of them, I think. But
yeah,
still, like if you're somebody who wasn't there or don't know the whole story, then it could be portrayed as that.
Yeah.
So I kind of understand why they did it.
All right. So then we get our next. We finally get to meet this officer here.
The minute I saw her, I'm like, that's got to be Ro.
Well, Sam's asking, do you think we're gonna get a Ro Laren cameo this season, guys?
Yeah, right now.
Right now.
There you go. There
right
she
there.
is.
There she
and
is.
As for Will Wheaton, it's unconfirmed, but there's a good chance there will be.
Don't tell me this. I don't want to know that yet. I'd like to be surprised like I was tonight.
Okay, I was surprised too. Ro Laren,
I thought it was already news.
Came in here. She's wearing a little bit of a variant of this new uniform style with her pips, like
that's
sort
the
of
intelligence uniform. Yeah.
I guess that's what it's meant to be. Starfleet intelligence. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's like Ro Laren, and Picard is not happy to see her. He has not seen her since the events of Preemptive Strike.
Well, and he's angry too. He's angry
yeah.
about it because she basically joined the Marquis, right?
Yeah, well, he helped her get her career all restarted and going again, and and then she went off.
And the way he looks at it is that she basically threw it all away, right? So.
Right. Enjoying.
Yeah, but also sort of made him look like a fool as well. I think there's a bit of a There's a little bit more hurt feelings out of Picard than I would have thought. Being But anyway, you can see the emotion in this guy. In this series,
he's very angry at her, and then you got Riker, who's just kind of like, "Oh, hey, I know her."
Yeah, but I mean, this first few minutes, you're thinking, is she an imposter? Is she a changeling?
Right.
Well, I think those two are, but I think Shaw's just like, "Oh, good, somebody's here to get rid of these guys."
I think she says she's here to charge them with treason or something like that.
Yeah, she says that, and then it cuts to the commercial break.
They're like, treason. But Picard, he's not quite as upset as at her as he was with Beverly Crusher, but that's a pretty upset face, I'd say.
He's angry. You can tell he's got some anger there.
Right.
But I mean, there's no love lost. Look at the faces. There's no smile. There's nothing. No greetings.
But I like how she plays it because she did a great job. Because it could have been oh, hello, Jean-Luc, or something like that. But instead, she's just like, oh, by the way, I'm here to bring you down.
Right.
This
is also intercut with Jack being hidden here in the Starfleet uniform by 7 of 9. which he's not happy with because in the dream he was wearing the Starfleet uniform and it was a red one. I'm
Exactly.
like, why didn't you just give him a blue one just so it's not the same as the dream?
Well, she wasn't in the dream,
I
so
know,
she
but he
doesn't
could-
know what color he was wearing.
I know she doesn't know. He could ask one.
Oh, okay.
That's not neither here nor there. Then we get this other scene here in sickbay with Beverly Crusher, and she's doing the
Sick
autopsy.
bay being the actual, keyword here. Sick.
Sick, yep.
Oh yes.
Was that Yes, that was Ro Laren. Sam, Ro Laren is in this episode. Yes, she's here. She's
Come
on
on,
the ship.
Sam. Keep up.
Do you got an old picture of Ro Laren to comparison?
Not handy, but I'm sure we can dig something up.
Michelle Forbes is aging pretty well, though.
Yeah, she looks great.
How old is Michelle Forbes now?
I'm going to check that day for you while you look for a
All
picture.
right.
Jody, you want to talk about this scene?
Sure. So basically, we have the fake crash here, and they're looking at the body, and they're basically determining that there's for some strange reason she's kept the form, which is odd for the shapeshifters. So the fact that they can keep the form, and then when she goes to use the dermal cutter, she notices that like she bleeds and everything. So it's like, how is this possible? Because this shouldn't be possible for a shapeshifter. So they've obviously found a way to adapt. And then you have Crash in the background there, who's onlooking this, which I have no idea why she's even here, quite honestly.
Just so she can verify that it's not her who's dead. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because Beverly or the chief medical officer of the ship couldn't do that. Like, we need her to do that. Like, come on. I think this was just for the gag, which was essentially she saw this happening and then she just threw up in the background. So that's why you don't really see her. But I don't know.
Got that picture here. Here's your Ro Laren from the old days.
There's Ro.
Adam.
Yep, and she is 57.
57. Good for her.
Wow.
Yeah, she's looking great.
Yeah.
But
And-
anyway, so yeah, she's like, oh, blah 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 blah, and then that's basically the whole scene.
We get this whole exposition here with Picard and Riker, where he was like, Riker's like, that was 30 years ago, because Picard's like, last time we saw Ro Laren, she pulled a phaser on you, Riker, and
come on, Jean-Luc, like it's been 30 years ago, and now I have a pizza oven. Like,
yeah,
come on.
Who cares about the Maquis anymore? No one cares about them
anymore. What are you so upset about?
Yeah,
this is the cool part of Riker, though, is like he's always been a little laid back, and he shows it here again.
Well, and he's in a situation which he knows he's screwed, and he's like, you know what? You need to mellow out, dude. Like, you're gonna have a coronary like any moment now if you keep doing this.
Yeah. Did she leave for the Maquis? Well, she did. Well, that's what gets explained to us here, because she comes in and there's this tension here between them, and Riker is asked to leave, because she just wants to interrogate Picard first, separately. She has to prove she's not a changeling.
She's pushing 60, man. She's looking great. Good for her.
But she was on the show. She was on Next Generation 30 something years ago, 30 plus years ago. So, and she wasn't 10, even though she was de-aged in one episode.
When
jump in the bed.
Yeah. So there's this whole thing here between, Jack. We get more of these with Jack, and he's having these visions, and he goes to the transporter room, and we're seeing the red stuff take over. And
that was an intense scene when they're all screaming on the transporter pads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eyes are going red, and this security officer guy, whoever, he's just like, "Hey, what's up with you, man? Are you supposed to beam over
here? Yeah.
Are you?" Because they're beaming the crew of the Titan, by the way, over to the Intrepid. So there's only there's even fewer people left on the Titan.
But at this point, we don't really know why they're doing that, though.
No, well, Michelle, Ro Laren says it's because it's the investigation or something.
Yeah, which wouldn't make any sense, because why are you moving an entire crew from one ship to another for an investigation?
Why don't you just move the people who are under investigation over?
Yeah, that makes more sense. So obviously it makes more sense later on when we find out what's going on. But at this time, I was kind of confused as to why they were even doing this.
Yeah, but Jack in his dream again, he kills this guy just because he's like, "Can I go to a planet or something?" He's like, "No," and then he just shoots him, and then he comes out of the dream again. And he's like, "Oh, okay." I guess.
The guy's like, "Are you okay?" And he's just kind of like,
"You should be so glad I didn't."
Kind of walks away. But at that point, that should be your red flag. that guy should be, that transporter guy should be like, yeah, that Jack guy was in here and he was acting really weird. You know,
He didn't
like
even
that.
seem to know him as Jack, though. I found that seemed a little bit unbelievable because it's not a huge ship. You're gonna know
No.
pretty much everybody on there.
Yeah,
I'm always
I don't really know
amazed,
what the
like-
compliment of the ship is, but
When I was watching Voyager, I'm like, this ship's only supposed to have like 150 people on it, and they're trapped in the Delta Quadrant. I'm like, there's no way that we wouldn't know all of these crew by the end of the show. Like, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like, it was. I've worked at places that have more than 150 people. I knew most of them.
And you go home every day.
Right.
yeah.
You know, so if you have to live with them in a metal tube for 7 years, you pretty much know everyone pretty well. But next scene here on while Worf is doing his meditation here on Matalas Prime, District 6, we see like the little laser pointers get put onto their chest.
I wouldn't call them little.
Well, big
My
laser
God, they're like
pointers.
that.
And we get to see like he starts to speak. This what's this character name? Grin.
Nero, I don't know.
Something like that. But he's a Vulcan gangster, guys. Who shows up here.
I like his logic, though. You know, in order to have utopia, you need chaos, and I'm the chaos.
Yeah, and it's only logical to have criminal enterprise, you know, and organized crime. He's wearing a big Vulcan symbol around his.
Yeah, I love how he's got like the gangsta symbol going on.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this actor. This is Kirk Acevedo, who's been in
looks familiar.
lots of different things. But
I think he was
this
in
is-
Fringe, if I remember. He was in.
He was in
maybe
Fringe.
that's where I know him from. Okay.
And I most know
He
him.
looks
I most
familiar.
know him from a show called Oz that was on in the '90s. It was like a prison show.
Oh, the
HBO.
prison show, yeah.
So he played
Never watched that one.
Alvarez. He was Alvarez on that show. He was one of like he's right there from the very beginning of the show.
If I'm not mistaken, he was also in Sons of Anarchy, but I could be wrong on that.
Maybe in Mayans.
I think he played one of the Mayans, yeah.
And he was also in Law and Order and lots of different things. He's been he's a good actor, and it was like interesting.
Yeah, I thought he was familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, they brought him in to play the first Vulcan gangster. And I was like, okay, you know, he's kind of going on here. He disrupts the hologram of Raffi, which we kind of, you know, we see the mobile emitter kind of malfunction, fall to the ground, and he's like, "You not think I know about mobile emitters?" We see that Raffi's actually up in like the tower here with the rifle on him, but she gets sort of taken out here by one of his henchmen. But again, I guess this was all part of Worf and Raffi's plan. They were expecting him to get they wanted him to think that he got the drop on them and he was in control, just for him to lose it. I don't know. So anyway, so they bring Worf down, and then we come back to the Titan, where this examination on the changeling continues. Okay, the one line that Beverly Crusher mentions in this episode is that changelings have never been able to do internal organs before. That doesn't make any sense, and that's not even true.
Well, I think she means separate. Like, as in, like, if the organs are separated from the mass, they shouldn't be sustainable.
Well, that's not really what I heard. Like, if you
I
think
it was
she,
implied, but yeah.
well, if she did mean that, that would make more sense. I agree, but I don't think that's not what I took from it. I took from it
Fair
that
enough.
she was saying like changelings have never been able to do the internal physiology before. Like, you know, I was like, well, if that's the case, then why would you need to blood screen them? Wouldn't you just need to scan them with a tricorder just to figure out if they have a heart or not?
Well,
or a
and
kidney
she
or
also
not?
says that like all the ships have a measurement now for that. So like they check for changelings actively.
Yeah.
So obviously they have been more of a threat, right? So
Right. They were doing this autopsy, and they're like the organs that they're cutting up are only turning into liquid under like dissection, like not.
yeah, like once they're released, yeah, like once they're cut, all of a sudden they just turn into like nothingness. Yeah.
Right. But there's no DNA, and there's some like weirdness, and the doctor says, "Is this like some kind of new species of changeling?" And she says, "No, it's some kind of evolution or some kind of new breed
Yeah.
of changeling." How did you feel about this, Adam? Like what they're doing with the changelings, and is this?
It was good. I mean, you can look what this scene to me created was a very big uncertainty, because it's almost like I'm going to do the Battlestar Galactica crossover again, and you can't tell who the Cylons are now. It's now you've crossed over. They thought they had a way to track them. They don't. Now they can be anybody.
Well,
Right,
all you have
so
to do is ask them a question, though. Like it was all like isn't it like if you ask them like a
True, but I mean, at first glance, trust no one, Dave. Trust no one.
okay, at first glance, sure.
Yeah.
we come back here to this interrogation between Picard and Ro Laren. Sam asking, did she leave for the Maquis? And this is kind of the scene where she explains it all because Picard's like, how the hell are you back in Starfleet after?
How do you go full circle and you're back in now? And on top of that, you're in one of the most prestigious departments of Starfleet.
Yeah.
The other thing though about this scene, because this is the scene where right now I'm thinking, no way she's a changeling, because why would
I don't think she is now.
Yeah, but why would she answer the questions? She's got no obligation to answer any of those questions.
I don't think she trusts. She doesn't trust
what
this
leads me to believe that this is a ruse, right? This is.
I think she wants to figure out if this is the real Picard too that she's dealing with.
Actually,
I think
great point.
That's part of it. But she says about how she turned herself in from the Maquis after being in the Maquis for a while just to go back to prison, and then she had to work her way out of prison, and then she worked her way back into Starfleet, and so she kind of did the whole thing again.
Her talents were better used in intelligence, yeah.
Right. So the Maquis were wiped out by the Dominion, which is run by the changelings, if we can recall, and because they allied with the Cardassians, and the Cardassians were who the Maquis didn't like. So it was I don't know, they would have been, if Ro Laren's character had stuck around, maybe that would have become more of a plot point. But I was like, it's been 30 years. It's plausible she could be back in Starfleet, I guess. Chakotay got a pardon, and so did B'Elanna Torres, so why not? And then Picard gets this call from Beverly Crusher. I got some important medical things for you to look at. And we get this little text message here. Changelings can pass the blood test. Capabilities beyond superficial. Trust no one. Sick bay check-in.
Yeah, this was a little silly.
Right. So Picard's like, oh no, maybe Ro Laren's a changeling. I gotta play.
Yeah, but on the fact that Ro allows him to even get this message while he's being interrogated, essentially, it's that either furthers the fact that she already is aware that she's going to try to recruit him or something along the lines of anyway. So at this point, I already knew she wasn't going to be a threat to him because we already she's kind of established.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure she's not. She is who she says she is. She's not the imposter here. I was already feeling that by this point.
Yeah, I think the imposter is still Jack. I think Jack is the actual imposter.
Well, we also see actual changelings who are trying to find him. Lots of them. The ones that came over with Ro Laren. And so there's kind of a jump here where Ro Laren is escorting Picard to the Intrepid, but then she's like, let's go into the holodeck here, Picard.
I also like the fact that they purposely made her hair cover both her ears,
so we could see her earring.
So we couldn't see her earring, so we didn't know anything about the earring at that point, right? So
yeah, that she was or wasn't wearing it.
I like that.
Yeah, it was good. I feel like she came back on two conditions. One, kill me off. I'll come back. I'll do a one and done. You kill me off. And two, don't make this Bajoran makeup too intense. And I think it's if you compare it to her original what she had back on Next Gen.
Yeah, it's a little bit smoother. Yeah. Not as jagged, not as much, yeah.
We get the safety. So we see here in the holodeck that you can just turn off the safety protocols with a touch button here.
Which is under the bar, apparently.
Apparently under the bar.
In this particular thing. Yeah.
And this is his program, I guess. And he's like, hey, because he's like, she wants some music. He turns on the jukebox here, and then he's able to get the gun out here. I guess this is why he had to turn off the safety protocols, right? Yeah. He's like, I got this from Guinan. You remember Guinan? Sorry guys.
Your friend in Rascals.
I want Guinan on Picard. Well, yeah.
You're at least a season late.
Yeah, you turned into kids together, remember? With Keiko. It's interesting.
There's no mention of Keiko, which is good.
And Picard. He was part of that too.
Yeah, he was one of
he was one of them. Yeah.
And then the Ferengi tried to take over the ship.
You're my number one dad.
Yeah. That's what I call him, number one dad. Don't want to confuse things.
And was it? No, it wasn't Ro. It was Guinan that was jumping up and down on the bed, right?
Guinan liked it. She was like, I like being 10. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Which made more sense considering how old her character was. Yeah, but in this conversation here between Ro and Picard, they're definitely at odds with each other. There's animosity. They're hostile to each other, and they do end up and he's like, oh yeah, I remember when I let you wear your Bajoran earring. You said it was to honor your family. It was just your ego that you wore that earring the whole time. And then he says in Bajoran, an ego that would lead you to betray me. She's like, oh, you're ancient Bajoran. He's good. He goes, I've been practicing for 30 years. You know,
for
this
moment
speech.
or something like that. He says, yeah.
Right. And I'm like, this all was completely valid. It made a lot of sense. Like all the backstory works so well. I was like, I've always wanted this, like some kind of a conversation between these two after that episode back in season 7 of Next Gen 30 years ago.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm actually kind of glad that they did this because it kind of ties up a little bit. Yeah.
You know what's, again, this particular season is doing so well is the emotion that these guys have.
Yes.
And what they're carrying for 30 years.
The baggage, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they explain they explain just enough of the backstory in case you haven't, in case you're coming in, you don't know it. It doesn't. They'll fill you in.
Yeah, you don't need to know a lot. You just need to know that she basically betrayed him and took off for the Maquis. Like that's.
But if
all
you
really
do
need to
know, if you have seen all that, and if you do know that, I feel like this is so much richer. You know,
Yeah,
like,
it really was. I mean, that scene, Dave, where you broke my heart, and well, you broke mine. Like,
yeah.
Really great.
I understand. I do still side with Picard in this particular discussion, you know.
Oh, so do I. I do too.
I understand why he was disappointed in her. Like, if you look back on it, like her mission was to go infiltrate the Maquis, and then she joined them. Like that was. But
Riker.
But she explains herself well enough. She says, like, I just thought I was doing what was right, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but Riker even said it though. It's like you sent her there knowing that she might sympathize with these guys. Like,
it was kind of
even a discussion they had in that episode, right? Like, you know, you're kind of sending her back to where she came from. Like, this is, she may not come back. Like.
Yeah, and there was like that old guy who liked Hasperat. Like that was ultimately what like led her to join or sympathize the most with it. And it made sense in the episode, but there was never that resolution. That was the end of Michelle Forbes. That's the end of the Ro Laren character. She never came back on D Space Nine or anything like that. So this is the
and that was a season 7 episode, right? So that was
right near the end. It was right near the end of the show. You know,
it was a couple episodes from the end, I think.
I remember being so disappointed when that actually aired, when that happened.
I was too, because I was like, oh well, like
I really liked Ro Laren's character. I thought they could have easily did way more with her.
And I thought they could have brought her back. They could have brought her back into D Space, in particular.
Yeah, she could have definitely been in Deep Space Nine for sure.
Originally, there was no Kira. They originally did. They just wanted O'Brien and Ro Laren to go.
Yeah, Ro Laren was originally supposed to be Kira,
but she didn't want to do it at the time, so they ended up creating the Kira character, which worked out fine. But anyway. Let's go back to the next scene, guys. Here with Grin,
Nero.
our Vulcan.
I mean the Vulcan guy. Yeah.
Vulcan gangster, where he's like he makes Raffi and I know it's so hard to see what's in this shot here, but Raffi and
what am I looking at?
Two daggers on the pavement.
Is this the bridge of the Titan?
Starfield without the stars.
I'm like, you can barely see what it is, and so they're I don't know, like I guess this was entertainment. They made bets on it or whatever, as bad guys do. And Worf's like, don't hold back because I cannot. So then they start swinging at each other. It's hard to get screenshots from the fight because it's just
for sure
swingy. Yeah. But she ends up stabbing him in the gut.
Yeah.
So as we're watching this scene, I said to Callie, my wife, I go, if this is the way that he's going to die, this isn't a 3. Worf cannot be killed by Raffi.
No, not like
I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of hoping that's what was going to happen.
Come on, Jody.
I kind of was. I wanted because only because like actually I have enjoyed him a lot more now. But I it would crush Davin. It would just crush him.
It would crush me.
Crush all of us.
Everyone with Jody.
I'm crushed about it, but
yeah, but he's like.
But it would be kind of really silly for him to die this way. Like this is the dumb way for him to die.
Yeah, well, but I go some Vulcan gangster makes Raffi stab him. That's it. But he's like, you are a warrior, and today is a good day to die. And then he does this whole thing. And whatever. And then back on the Titan, the changelings are looking for Jack, can't find him. This conversation continues over here in the holodeck with Picard and Ro Laren, where she's really breaking down that like the deepest levels of Starfleet have been infiltrated.
Now we're seeing ears.
Yeah, like
even
this
though
is
she wore it on the other one, but
yeah, we see no earring here that she's not wearing that. But also that like there's a lot going on here. It's like there's a big conspiracy. It's almost as bad as when those butt bug things were trying to take over in season 1. You know, those purple little bug.
Mhm.
I think that episode was called Conspiracy.
Yes, conspiracy.
Yeah.
Right.
With,
there's
with that terrible special effect of the guy
with like
blowing
the
up.
mother guy with the head explodes.
That caused
I
a lot
still
of
love
crap
that
back then
episode
too.
though.
Yeah, it was
but
too violent,
it was too violent. So many people complained about that being so violent.
Yeah, but if you look at it now, you're just like, wow.
And other people
that was
complained that it just
bad.
looked fake. So I never thought it was too violent, but
It was up there with the melting face from Indiana Jones, right?
Exactly.
Right. So yeah, they check Worf's pulse here back on Matalas Prime, and he's dead. And then like
he's dead, Jim.
Yeah, Crin's like, you work for me now. I'm going to use your family against you, like your ex-husband and son and granddaughter,
and your
or
grandson or granddaughter. Yeah,
she's like, you will never owe me. And then Worf comes out and he stabs all the guys. He he gets the drop on him here.
I have mastered the technique of callous.
Yeah,
I didn't like that part.
I know I can get my heartbeat going, but it was funny where he's like, I have lost a lot of blood. I need some blood.
I did like how he did that though. He's like, you need medical attention.
I have lost a significant.
I have lost a considerable amount of blood.
Yeah. And okay, so we get the more information because the way they want to know is like what's going on at Daystrom. We see Daystrom Station. This is what we're looking at here, which Jody, this looks a lot like Jupiter Station, but
it does, doesn't it?
Extra is added onto it. Like we in Star Trek Online, we've seen Jupiter Station, which is I think we also saw it in Voyager. Actually, I think we went there.
Yeah.
Because that's where Robert Zimmerman worked, the guy who created the EMH. And so, but so this part, like these two buildings here kind of are similar to Jupiter Station, but all of this extra stuff like around it is kind of.
When if you look at them, they're almost like, they're like pods basically. So I'm guessing like they're pods that can be detached and moved around. And
I guess they're like, it's different research projects or something.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. Yeah.
Yeah, so different shots, but he talks about how there's like this security vault there, and this is how I guess they have to get
where Moriarty's going to be coming in.
Right, we need to get into the Daystrom Institute. We need this device.
Moriarty's going to end up being the AI that runs that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, maybe that's logical. Very logical. Yeah, so they like we want that device. He's like, that is logical, and so because you have a knife to my throat. And then back on the Titan, Ro Laren says to Picard, you need to trust no one. We see the security guards coming. And so she kind of says, I need to have a conversation here. And this is where she gives them the earring. And this is where this is basically their goodbye. Like this is the last time they're ever going to see each other, like in person, because she'll die in the next few minutes.
And at this point, you get the impression that Picard is now starting to warm back up to her again.
Yeah, they've kind of, that conversation in the holodeck seemed to
was enough to kind of justify what was happening.
Yeah, that they can at least move past the past and they can kind of focus on.
And I like how she's showing that she still has admiration for him. Like, she, even though things have happened and blah blah blah, but you can tell, like, just that actually this screenshot is a perfect example of that. Like, you can see the fact that she has admiration for him.
Yeah,
so she's still
like there's some real emotion here. These two brought it in this very small scene. He doesn't have a lot to say, but Patrick Stewart does great here. She's tearing up. She's like, I never wanted to disappoint you. I always wanted.
But what
you say, Jody?
He's frozen.
He is. No, his eyes are moving though.
Yeah, I'm a little back and forth here. Just go on with me, guys. I'm on hotel Wi-Fi, so you know how that works.
We're just, just the emotion here. Michelle Forbes, amazing. I was like, and it was like this daughter almost that disappointed Picard, and then he had to come around and forgive her, and she had to forgive him, and like all these things, and then. She's like, we're leaving now. We're not dealing with this. We're supposed to take Jack Crusher back. Of course, the changelings don't care about the Jack Crusher of things. Never mind that. Now we're leaving. And then so Picard comes up and says, after this conversation with Ro Laren, we can't trust anybody. We need to run now. We need to.
Michelle's like, what?
What security? Like, you guys are just ruining my life.
He's like, I still have to put up with your dumbasses.
I thought you guys were going to get court-martialed. It was the best day ever.
Like, why does every day have to be shitty with you guys?
Right.
my life was so good. I got to eat blue steak, and
I had
life was
my
good.
blue
Yeah,
steak
I was
and-
doing the simple, straightforward textbook missions, and I was good at it. We were good at that. No one died. Nothing got blown up. But now, not so fun. Anyway, so they're like, Picard says to Shaw, there's a deep conspiracy here. We this is so much worse than we thought, and we might be all standing between like complete takeover of the Federation and not. Meanwhile, we see here that Ro Laren and her 2 security changelings are heading over in the shuttle. And on the way over, we see Ro Laren's kind of still pondering everything that they discussed. But at this moment, the changelings get their bomb. They put this bomb here on the floor of the shuttle, and then they just beam out. And Ro Laren's like, what the heck's going on? We see that this is the same device that they had previously sabotaged part of the Titan with. We saw that other changeling use. This must be their bomb of choice. And then we see the changelings emerge back here on the Titan looking for Jack Crusher, but then they do their little gross transformation thing, and they turn into other security officers.
Turn into 2 different ones. Yeah,
they turned into 2 different ones. I was like, okay, I guess. Incoming hail, Captain, and it's Ro Laren just to kind of say,
shuttle.
I got a bomb on my ship. They took my security officers. There's a lot going on. Beam her out of there. Transport inhibitor. Can't beam her out. We need to get her closer. She decides she doesn't have time to disarm it, so she kind of gives us goodbye instead, to Picard and to Riker, I suppose, a little bit too. These, her old compatriots. Picard says, "I see you now. I'm sorry that it took me so long." And just at that moment, she's flying into the shuttle.
But I like how she course corrects and goes for one of the nacelles.
Yeah. She's like, I'm gonna screw you guys, and hopefully
like, if I'm going out, I'm gonna take out at least a nacelle with me.
Well, that's all she needed to do, right? I mean, you got the crew shipped over there now, right? So
all of the crew, of the
most of the crew there,
is over there now.
But that was the plan the whole time, right? Was for her to basically get rid of most of the crew, so only there's a skeleton crew there, and that was it.
Is that I guess but there's a lot of innocent people on the Intrepid who are now in danger, right?
Well, are they though? I mean, they just can't go at warp.
Yeah, they can't go to warp.
Well, isn't the Intrepid run by changelings?
Well, I guess so.
Some of them are changelings, yeah.
I guess.
But we get the impression that the changelings are all over the Federation at this point anyway.
Yeah,
so.
I guess they're everywhere. There was a bunch here just on the Titan itself.
I hope it turns into like a Mars Attacks type thing where they find out like some song that makes them all die. That'd be amazing.
What was the song in Mars Attacks? Wasn't it like
it was like something like yodeling song or something?
Yodeling song.
Yeah. I love that movie. It's so bad.
Yeah, it was like polka.
Yeah.
Ro Laren goes out here, and Picard, like Patrick Stewart, like his emotion about the loss of her is pretty significant.
Yeah, not bad for an android.
Not bad for a positronic guy. And then they're like, "Hey, Shaw, they're telling us to surrender." He goes, "What? Surrender for what?"
Shaw's just like,
"For what?"
This is the weirdest day ever.
Riker's like, "Don't you get it? We're being framed for what just happened." Seven's like, "Yep."
Well, and I think that's kind of the turning point with Shaw, right? Like at that point, Shaw's just like, "Oh yeah, I'm being framed for this shit." Yeah.
Yeah, I know what it's like to be these guys for a day, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, we need to go. See here,
done nothing but cause me grief.
The Intrepid is already targeting the Titan, and they need to get out of here. So Ro Laren did not die in vain. So Shaw gives in. Well, after a little bit of convincing is needed here. It's really scary. As the Intrepid is like,
I love these external shots though. The external shots were done so good.
Just how like their nacelle is all like fizzing and whatever. And
it's
on
fizzing,
fire.
You actually see the ship, like the ship is leaning and it's limping, and then all of a sudden it just kind of comes back up and corrects itself, and then it like kind of just gets ready, and it's starting to, the phaser banks are starting to get warmed up, and Shaw's just like, "Oh shit, they're gonna shoot at us.
We can't all be fugitives, Is this like Star Trek Insurrection?" He's like, "You damn right it is. It's just like that."
He's like, "You're not gonna put my saucer on a planet, are you?"
Right. He's like, "If you don't want to believe us, believe your eyes. Look out there. That is not friendly." He's like, yeah, okay, let's go. So they convince him. They convince him. Red alert. They're going on
If
here.
they kill off Shaw, I'm revolting. That's
And
all
Shaw
I'm
gives like the
saying.
announcement on the ship. He's like, Starfleet has been compromised. Like he says.
Yeah, he just goes full tilt. He's done now. He's just like, yep, nope, it's all compromised. We're screwed. Let's go.
Watch out. The changelings, they catch up here with Jack Crusher saying, we're going to put a transport thingy on you and we're going to take you out of here right now. So we know that they want him alive. So they would just shoot him, right? If
they want him alive for a reason. Yeah.
Right. And then 2 other changelings show up here I don't know if they came from the Titan or if they came from the Intrepid, but they're here.
I think they're Intrepid. Yeah.
And this is where he goes full Jason Bourne mode. We see the door and electrics, and he's able to get all these changelings, take their phaser, shoot them all, do his kung fu moves. This one tries to get back up and come at him, and he just boom boom. And we get more of this vision. He's seen this door. There's some significance to the door, a red door, I guess, where he's seen this is like an old door that's got some peeling paint and like a steel doorknob on it. And then
this door thing's bugging me because I keep associating it with last season when they were talking about the door, and that was the door that was Picard's mother was always behind.
Oh right, that's right. Yeah, and I keep associating with it, like the whole like Red Angel mystery that was part of like season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, which I was like, I don't care about this Red Angel nonsense.
Yeah, space Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm afraid that we're getting this again. I don't know. I'm just saying this better pay off, like, or otherwise like it's going to be sort of.
Well, they are slowly chipping away at it, right? So like we're now noticing the fact that he is definitely like these things are catching up to him. Like he's actually like grabbing guns while he's seeing this shit and stuff. So like
and he keeps visioning killing people
soon. Yeah.
Yeah, but he opens his eyes again, and like that red door is gone. But all those changelings he killed are definitely dead.
I'm gonna make a prediction, guys. I think he's gonna end up killing Crusher.
Oh.
I think he's gonna kill his mom.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That would be dark. Okay.
I think that's what's gonna happen.
So he's back to here on the bridge. They're trying to get away from the Intrepid in time. Let's go to warp.
Love those external scenes though. They're just so well done.
And they take some fire some torpedoes at him here. We see like this other shot here.
Yeah, the last second warp out. Yeah.
Yeah, and they warp out just before the torpedoes get them. And
what I would have liked to see, what's her name show up with one of those little portal things and then shoot back at something else with it.
Oh yeah, with Paddock.
That would be cool. Or they go to warp and end up warping into the back of the Intrepid or something like that.
Right. The other thing mentioned here, he's like, okay, we got away, but they're coming after us now. He goes, who? And Picard says, everyone.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or is it Riker? I don't know. But then a couple final scenes here. Picard's still grieving over Ro Laren. Riker comes in to talk to him about it. And he goes, I know she meant a lot to you. Or I know how much she meant to you. He goes, I don't think you did. I don't even know how much she meant to me. Like until I saw her and put this all together. So like, well, I think this part was really
Riker was always hostile with her, right? So
especially in the beginning, but he also slept with her. Remember?
Well, he did sleep with her. Yeah.
Conundrum.
Yeah.
That was a good episode too.
It was a really good episode.
Love that one.
Anyway, so she's like, Picard's like, she gave me this Bajorn earring. I don't get it. What the heck? He's like, come on, man. Like, I know what this is.
What are you, new?
Are you 6? He's like, this is a data chip. Like it's like he's showing his
in the future though, everything interfaces by just putting it on top of something.
Right.
I love that.
It's all
Bluetooth. It's very cool.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah. And we see this whole...
I can't even get my wireless charger to work 3/4 of the time. So
yeah, we get this. There's this entire investigation here that Ro has put together about the whole changeling conspiracy of things. A ton of information here.
Did you go back one though? Look at the pictures that are on the side there.
Like over here.
Yeah. Look at the third one. Who does that look like?
Is that Quark?
That looks like Gul Dukat to me.
Oh, maybe. It's hard to tell, but
and the one underneath, I'm not totally sure.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to me, that actually looks like Julian.
Oh, maybe.
So I don't know what's going on with all this.
Everything's. It'd be interesting to flip this image and see if we can read any of this.
They're
text.
very good at hiding stuff in panels though in this show. Like in this season, they've done a really good job with that.
Mm-hmm.
They're hiding crap everywhere.
Whose record is this? Like, I'm trying to read
Incident
backwards.
report.
Well, and that's there's a start date there, 70593.
Starfleet intelligence report, something.
That's
report.
an incident report.
Incident report. Okay.
But 3/4 of it is redacted. So
right.
I wonder what that start date is.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of redacted. Like, why have the redactions?
Because it's been censored by.
Oh, it's classified by
Yeah.
Starfleet intelligence. And so they're looking through all this. Oh yeah,
Starfleet
that's
chain
a
of pretty
command.
good shot right there.
Suspected changeling infiltration and all like the different officers.
Yeah, all the different levels.
She also, guys, we didn't talk about this in the holodeck scene, but she mentioned Frontier Day, that, they kind of talked about that in even the first episode, that it was supposed to be the 250th anniversary of like when Archer
Frontier
left
Day
Earth.
started on Enterprise, right?
Right. It's like when Enterprise first left Earth, it's the 250th anniversary, and Riker and Picard were supposed to give speeches, but there's some kind of changeling conspiracy about Frontier Day that's coming. So,
well, what's interesting now is if you look at this panel, if we look at those faces that were there and they were flipped out, the fourth one now is not clear. It's now a blank image.
mm-hmm.
But there was an image there earlier.
Yeah,
the other three are good.
I think this is the Ferengi guy.
Oh, you're right. That definitely looks like a Ferengi.
I think it's the one we met.
So that was the one that already died.
But I don't know who these two are meant to be, if anybody.
Well,
and we see Jack's
the
over
top
here.
guy is the original one. That was the first changeling we saw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess some of this is probably also what Worf has been feeding to her.
And then obviously Jack is on the right hand side there.
Yeah. We get the incoming transmission. Who could it be? It's Worf. And they're like, Worf.
Mr. Worf. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you. He's like,
he shows up. He shows up when it's convenient in movies.
Yeah. He goes, hey, where's Ro? Where's Commander Ro? And they're like, uh-oh.
Like, so who's gonna tell him? Is it gonna be me or you, Riker?
Yeah. They're like, uh-oh. Okay, well, we'll tell you.
She wandered over the nacelle.
Yeah. She went out in a nacelle. Then we come back over to sick bay where Captain Shaw is finding out that he had 4 changelings aboard. 4 on my ship, huh? That's interesting. Good shooting, kid. He says to
good
Jack.
I love how he just totally rings on this kid every time he gets a chance.
Yeah. And then Beverly wants to talk to Jack alone, so they ask Shaw and the Trill Doctor lady to leave. And so there's kind of like this ending scene here with Jack where she's like, "You're not sleeping, Jack. I can tell from your sunken eyes. Who needs sleep?" He says. Well, she's like, "Talk to me. You couldn't sleep when you were a kid," and all these other things. This scene kind of like their conversation devolves into this kind of she's like, "How did you know they were all changelings?" And he says, "I didn't know."
And she's frightened now.
She's frightened. She's like, he says, "I think that there's something very wrong with me. I'm starting to feel like."
So again, I think he does a pretty good job in this scene as well.
I'm willing to bet we're going to find out that he created this. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. And that's the end of the episode. Directed by Dan Liu and written by Cindy Apple and Chris Derrick. With we knew Michael Dorn was going to be in it, but Michelle Forbes, just wanted to call her out. Nice to see her back in Star Trek, even if it was for this one time only. And Frakes and Gates and whoever. But guys, we're 5 episodes in.
So Dave, just a couple things that I wanted to. I was searching a little bit, and I'll give credit to Den.
You got some fun facts?
I do, but from Den of Geek, I'm giving the credit because they just called it a couple things here for us. And I want to go back and listen for. In the first scene, they talk about the opening. Thanks, Jody. Okay. Opening scene sounds like the 1960s classic Enterprise, which they called the beeps and the boops of those of that era of ship of the Constitution class. So they go on to talk about how actually it was done intentionally So I'm going to go myself back later.
What do you mean? What was done intentionally?
Oh, I'm sorry. The sounds, the bridge sounds.
Oh yeah. Okay, sure.
From the original series.
Okay.
All right. They go on here. Acting captain's log. This is the first time since Next Generation where Riker talks. It opens with remember in the Next Generation, we would always open with captain's log, and we explain where they are in the universe at that time. And tonight, Apton opened with Riker saying acting captain's log, where they've limped to the edge of the Alpha Quadrant. First time they've ever done that since Next Gen.
Okay, let's see.
Yep. A couple other little things here. The Daystrom Institute's called out here. It's protected by an AI system. Later in the episode of Vulcan Crime Lord, Kryn says this is flaws in the system are most illogical. The Daystrom Institute has played a big role in Picard's in season 1, and the name Daystrom goes all the way back to the original series episode, The Ultimate Computer.
Yep.
So, yep. One more thing here. What did it call? It was kind of fun. Just give me a second here, Dave.
No problem.
Oh, Picard, Admiral Janeway. We have a bit of a mystery with her. You know, she's been called out a few times. We knew that she was in Prodigy, in 2379. She was an admiral in 2379 during Nemesis, but now seems to be a very high-ranking official. What we don't know is her exact position yet, and she seems protected too because Michelle Forbes, Ro Laren, mentioned that she's been trying to get to her and can't get through her people.
Can't get through her people. So is she like? I wonder if she's like the president or something now.
It'd be interesting that President of the Federation, maybe. Yeah. And then finally, Ro's death is the first time a major Next Generation character has been killed off since Data in Nemesis.
Of course, there have been too many things since Nemesis.
That's true too.
Right. So I guess
that's pretty obvious, but they're doing it in the same day.
Right. All right. Well, guys, let's get into our ratings for this episode. Murphy, he said he's giving this a 7, and he wanted to share when Jack killed the 4 changeling, he thought, Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne. So he gave it a 7. I think it was better than a 7. I think that this was Ro Laren coming back in here was pretty strong for me. I think I'm in the 9s, but some of that, I have some, whatever they're doing with these changelings and the organs and whatever. I'm like,
I need a payoff from these damn tentacle things I keep seeing.
Yeah, so I think I'm going just a 9 again. I think I could have been even higher if I could understand where this Jack Crusher story is going. I know I'm not meant to yet, so I might even like this episode more in the future.
I loved it. 9 for me.
9 for Adam. And Jody, where are you sitting with this?
I'm gonna do a 9 as well.
Big fan of Ro Laren, and I didn't know she was coming on tonight. Yeah, and that was a nice surprise, nice treat.
Oh, you don't even know. I watched this morning, earlier in the morning, because I woke up in the hotel room early, right? So I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just watch that because I can't get back to sleep. So I watched it so that way I could join you guys tonight because I didn't know how long I was going to be at a branch. And it was my face just lit up when I saw Ro. I'm just like, oh, yay. I'm so glad because I predicted she was going to be in it, but I didn't know she was. But it turned out that my prediction was true. So I was very happy about that.
Yeah, me too. And this episode has a 9 on IMDb so far today with 358 votes so far.
Which will change
of course.
Days down the line.
But a pretty good response so far. It seems like Jane watched it this afternoon or after work, and she liked it a lot too. I feel like most people are going to like this episode. I
think it was good.
They brought back in Michelle Forbes. It really worked well, and it really made this.
It didn't feel like it was tacked on. It felt like it was part of a cohesive story.
For sure. Yeah. And the other thing I'm a little bit I'm just a little surprised by. We're 5 episodes into this season. We have not seen Jody, and we have not seen Brent Spiner yet. So, and I'm okay with them.
I think Brent Spiner will be in probably 2 in 2 more episodes. We'll see him.
And I need compared to those 2, I need more LeVar Burton and less Brent Spiner. I I got
Agree
way
with
too
that.
much in the first two
I
seasons.
don't think you're going to
with
get
Brent
that
Spiner.
much LeVar Burton. I think
So-
he's going to be a very, very low key character in all this.
But they really pack a lot in an episode here, but it's not too much
They do.
either.
Yeah, they do.
And
They
you know,
do.
one more thing, Dave, for me is the cinematic quality of these shows is just unbelievably good.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. Like
Except for the lighting.
Except for the lighting. Yeah.
Which is done intentionally. So
Which
you
is
know,
done intentionally to make them not seem so old.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but you know, and make us forget certain other things. But I'm really liking the story. I think that this is really interesting, and I'm going to be curious to see like how are they going to save the galaxy again. You know, because I think it looks like they're going to need to.
I'm happier 5 episodes in this season than I was 5 episodes in last season.
oh my god, we were like killing ourselves last season.
Yeah, like so at this point last season, what was episode was Flyby to the moon last season?
Oh my, that was the worst one. I hope I
Yeah.
rated it badly. I can't remember.
What did you give that one? You gave that a 8 at the time.
Oh, I'll change that to 6, please.
You're done.
I wonder what I rated it. What did I rate it?
You rated it a 8.5.
I'm going to
So-
stay with that.
I didn't.
But
I'm gonna have to go back. and watch
Monsters was the episode we hated the most. Monsters was
That
the
was
one
a terrible episode.
with his dad or whatever. And,
Yeah.
you know, it was Gaius Baltar.
Yeah,
So-
another crossover. I love
Another
it.
Battlestar crossover. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, guys. Well, I think we're going to close the book here tonight on this episode, Imposters. I really enjoyed it. Next episode is called Bounty. So
Which
I
you won't be here for.
I won't be here for. I'm away.
Well,
on
you guess
vacation.
who's back next week? Trying to collect her bounty.
Vatic.
Vatic.
Amanda Plummer. I know Chris Murphy said he will join you guys for that one, so he'll be coming in.
Well, I thought he was running it.
He's running it. Yeah, I asked him to host it. So
Good.
He'll be here to direct the conversation next week. You know, see the highest he's given in this episode this season so far is 9. The rest of he's given 7s and 6.5s. So because he feels like there's room for improvement.
Murphy's harder to please
He's harder to please. He's a discerning individual. So
because he looks at all aspects of the episode, not just the story. He looks
he's like
at
cinematography, sound design,
effects,
special
everything, yeah.
effects. You
Yeah, he
know,
looks at it all. Yeah.
how original is the story or not?
Yeah.
So
But speaking of stories, Dave,
yes.
there's a lot of them on this channel.
We got all kinds of great things here on the Live Long and Podcast community here. We got all kinds of great Star Trek podcasts all the time, like episode reviews, like this Star Trek Picard. We do an ongoing series called for Star Trek Enterprise. I've been doing it with Jody and Adam and Kevin for the last few years now.
Okay.
We're well into season 3. We're getting the Xindi arc, and so we've been talking about every episode, evaluating it. We do that also with Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We've already completed our Star Trek original series and Star Trek films reviews. So you can check out all those great things. Plus we do a lot of other fun things like trivias and debate shows and different episodes like that. These episodes are like Joy Division songs, mainly one word titles.
I completely agree with Brandon on that. Yes,
Who's Joy Division?
a band.
A band from the 80s.
I guess I'm
90,
not-
yeah, 80s.
Yeah. Millennial guys. I'm millennial. So I don't know.
If it isn't the band, Dave doesn't know it.
Yeah. And of course, check out the Locutors of Track, Davin's long format audio podcast that comes out on Live Long and Podcast, and our operations division where we do video games, Star Trek radio theater, which we most recently did our Star Trek Lower Decks script read, Jody playing Commander Jack Ransom, Adam playing an admiral and several other aliens. I was playing Dracula. Yes, that's right. Star Trek Lower Decks had Dracula.
Your Dracula was fantastic, by the way.
It was very stimulating.
It was very stereotype, but it worked really well.
I was from Transylvania. I was a Transylvanian
Oh,
stereotype.
you sold it. for sure.
That's what I was going for. So that was a lot of
But
fun.
Jessica Chan stole that show.
Oh
She
my
was
god, Jessica
fantastic.
Chan had to be like 3 different characters, and she had to like talk to herself all the time. So
Not only that though, she did such a good job at differentiating them all too.
oh yeah, she really nailed it. So go listen to that live version, guys, if you haven't already, or we'll have the edited version come out eventually.
Eventually, is the
Eventually
easiest
when I
way
get
say
to it,
that.
like it's one of those things. The United Federation of Podcasts is a greater network of podcasts that we're part of, which features some amazing shows like KBBBL, Davin Francis and Baker every Friday talking about the Simpsons. We got the Super Mater Brothers channel where they're on tonight, guys.
I've enjoyed your company as
always do
always,
that.
but it appears it is time.
We are brothers. Right now we're covering Survivor
Every single
season.
time you do the wrong sound effect for that.
I know, I do it every time.
Every time now. Yeah.
Survivor 44. We were on last night talking about that. Tonight,
Yeah, how's the guy that I picked doing?
Who'd you pick?
We both picked the guy in the
second one in.
Yeah.
This guy Kane?
Oh no,
I don't know what you're pointing at.
Which front row?
So front row, second from the left.
Kane. That's Kane. He's Canadian. He did a really bad Canada last night. He said my home and sacred land. Those aren't the words.
That's not right.
No.
So Dave, I had the guy in the yellow tank top.
Oh, Josh, he nearly got voted off last night, but he managed to survive. So it was rough for him.
He deserves to be voted off to wear a yellow tank top.
Well, he's wearing a green one now, but he mostly shows off his abs. He's a podiatrist, that guy.
A podiatrist?
Anyway. Big Brother Canada 11, guys, is going on right now. Tonight, it's Jaemeel and Foster on tonight. They're actually probably going right now while we're doing this, talking about the eviction tonight. We're getting our second eviction. We're first person self-evicted. So check out our Big Brother Canada stuff if you're interested in that over in Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, as well as the Mary Mater Marvel Society, where we talk about things like in the MCU, like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. There's X-Rated, the X-Men, the animated review show every Tuesday with Davin and Andre. Andre also has the Graphics Histories podcast, where he does long-form interviews with people from comic books, graphic novels, movie biz, all kinds of great, interesting conversations over there. The Hellbound podcast, Wednesdays with Alex Blackburn and Michael Chan, talking about horror-related events, whether that be movies, news, or anything else. And Hold Up, a movie podcast every second Wednesday with Davin and Murphy, where they talk about 3 movies in a particular theme. They were just on last night, actually. So check out all those great podcasts in the Federation of Podcasts. And with that, guys, I'm going on vacation. I'm done for a week. So I think we're going to sign off for this evening. And with that, how about we go out here on some Liam Shaw quoting us out here. We'll see you next time, guys. Everyone, live long and podcast.
They might remember that time that someone hot dropped the saucer section of the Enterprise D on a planet, or that time that someone threw the Prime Directive out the window so they could snog a villager on Baku, or the time that you boys nearly wiped out all of humanity by creating a time paradox in the Devron system. Basically, when it comes to rescues from danger, you two have a real chicken and egg thing happening.
God, I love him.
See you next time.